Why, hello there. Jacob here. And today, let's go ahead and break down the Minnesota Vikings Monday night matchup against the Chicago Bears. So yeah, let's go ahead and break this down. So yeah, like I say, the Minnesota Vikings are hosting the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football in a move that I'm surprised stood. Like, I'm surprised the Vikings and Bears was still a Monday night game, like, even when the schedule first came out, but here we are. Then again, it is also the post-Thanksgiving Day slate of games and stuff like that, too, so they kind of spread out the games throughout the week, and plus with the Black Friday, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, regardless, I'm surprised that this even started off as the Monday night game, but here we are. So yeah, Justin Fields comes into town with DJ Moore and, a pretty decent linebacking core. I know they have, quite a few key pieces and stuff like that. Kind of like when I broke down the last matchup and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, like I say, the Bears have always had decent linebackers and, like, decent pass rush and stuff like that. It's just everything else behind it's kind of hit or miss. Like, some years they look really great. Some years, I mean, it's not so great. But, I mean, the Chicago Bears are, the record they are for a reason here. I think they're like 3-7, 2-7, 3-7, something like that. Anyway, regardless, it's not great. We'll just leave it at that for now. But, yeah, I mean, like I say, though, nothing would probably make them happier than to come into, like, NFC North territory, NFC North matchups, and just absolutely end a season, for lack of a better term, or make things very, very difficult. And while they might not have the greatest squad on paper, they can still get it done. I mean, they still have enough weapons to get it done. The Bears are definitely not a sleepover team or a pushover team. Even if it does sound like Poles and Eberflus will be gone by the end of the year, which honestly they should be. But, yeah, that's pretty much kind of the recap there on the Bears. The Bears are feisty. The Bears are fiery. The Bears might not be good, but they're not a team you can sleep on, and all that stuff. And hopefully last Sunday night's, heartbreaking defeat, put something into KOC, because that is point number one. It's been a point I've been yelling at since God knows how long. Full 60 minutes. I want to see the team come out in the second half more fired up after a 21-point lead than in the first half, getting that lead. I want to see them turn it up 2 more notches in the second half, regardless. Because that's what happens if you let teams hang around. That's what happens when you let coaches hang around. That's what happens when you don't put teams away. How many years in a row has we been saying that? So, game plan is if you get up on them, keep stomping them out. I know it's easier said than done when you're up 28-3 at halftime or in the third quarter, but this is the NFL, buddy. Did I mention they still have DJ Moore? Did I mention they have Cole Kmet? I mean, they still got a couple of weapons there. Darnell Mooney has beaten us a couple times. And they even have some speedsters, too, that are really, really, intriguing to watch. So, who knows? So that's point number one. Point number two is just go out and, for Josh Dobbs here, go out there and play a simple, easy, fun game here. Let's not try to outdo ourselves, because remember that last Sunday night game, where TJ Hawkinson handed it off to Joshua Dobbs on an end around? I'm like, what in the French toast was that? Like, no. When I say get a little bit more, spicier stuff like that, I don't mean that. Like, I'm all for a little razzle-dazzle here, but as far as I know, TJ Hawkinson's never done any sort of quarterbacking in his life. At the very least, do it with like a receiver or like a hybrid back or something like that. But it's like, granted, that hit on Kareem Jackson, stuff like that. He's suspended for 4 weeks and this and that and the other thing. Sean Payton. Regardless, yeah, I could easily make another 45-minute rant session about that, and most Vikings fans would agree with me. Fuck Sean Payton, but again, that's not what this video is about. What this video is about here is just Vikings play a complementary style of football. These guys are beatable. You should beat them. You're favorited to beat them. But I'm also a Vikings fan, and I know that should and could are two different things. Or should and have, I should say, are two different things. Yeah, you should beat a team like this. But have you done that in the past? It's like, it's frustrating, So, yeah, and then like I say, and then after this, we have the bye week coming up. And then we have our big stretch of games, but I'll probably preview that next week during my bye week edition and stuff like that, just because after we get done with Chicago and then the bye week, it's pretty much a sprint to the end, including the Detroit Lions, who, thanks to the Green Bay Packers, lost. So now that kind of keeps the Vikings in the mix for the NFC North. But again, 1 week at a time. Talk to me after the Chicago game, and we'll go from there. But I guess for one of the few times, maybe ever, thank you, Green Bay. Ooh, I have to rinse my mouth out after saying that. But anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I say, that'll basically wrap this up here. So, just kind of breaking things down here. The biggest thing is play a full 60 minutes. Defense needs to slow down Justin Fields, DJ Moore, and Darnell Mooney and those guys. The offense needs to, let's not get too fancy. Let's not get too cute here. Let's not, do tight end handoffs to the quarterback. Unless it's like a flea flicker play action type thing here. But what? That play still baffles me and probably will baffle me. Granted, credit KOC for putting his nuts on the table and trying something new, but I think that's pretty much all I got to say about that. And then, of course, special teams, too, I don't think Vikings fans need to know the horrors of special teams Chicago, especially if you're around during the Devin Hester era. But obviously, that's one thing you got to keep in mind, too. And also, Greg Joseph, like I say, it may come down to a field goal. It may come down to a couple extra points here. Kick them through, please. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but again, Vikings and special teams. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, so, it's been a hell of a season, hasn't it, Vikings fans? It's been a hell of a season, but now we're getting into the final act. Now we're getting into the curtain call. Now we see what this team is actually made of. Now can we, get this win and push forward and potentially seal a playoff position? Who knows? Only the Vikings can do that for us, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll see you Monday night. I got to work tomorrow night, though, or for the Monday night game, and so I'll probably do like a short post game, and then I might actually break it down Tuesday when I get home, but yeah. Plus, we get to see the throwbacks again. By the way, Vikings, make those the full-time alternates. Thank you. So yeah, with that being said, this is Jacob. Have a good day. And also stay tuned because I do have a couple of pickups potentially coming, including one that might be one of the weirdest, rarest, I don't even know what to say here, but it's still... Regardless, I have a jersey that's coming that should that has been, the label on it for like 3 or 4 days, and it's a jersey I can't find anywhere else but this particular spot, and I'll explain more about that later, when and or if it comes. So, until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good one.